How do I begin expressing myself authentically when I'm afraid of rejection or judgment?
I so understand that. Like, I think before you putting yourself out online, because I understand like how like I have this thing called like rejection sensitivity disorder, and like a lot of neurodivergent people tend to have this, where it's like this idea of like, well, not even idea, like when you get rejected it is physically painful. And a lot
Right.
of neurodivergent people tend to have this because, you know, like we've gone our entire lives like hearing so much like negative feedback about us that our self-worth like is lower than neurotypical people. Because I think I heard something about like by the time you're 10 you've heard over like, this is not an accurate like number, but it's something wild like 25,000 more negative comments by the time you're 10 than neurotypical kids. So I would say like in order to like express yourself like authentically, you need to figure out what actually brings you joy. So aside, because I think it's a process. Because like for me, it was a process because I used to be so scared to put myself online. Like I just wouldn't do it because I just kept being like, this is cringe, you know, and like no one's going to care, or just like all this like negative like self-belief, you know. And the
Mm.
first thing I did was like, okay, if I want to be like authentic online, I need to be authentic to myself. So who am I? What do I like? What do I enjoy? What are my needs? How do I get my needs met? And this whole process that took minimum 4 years for me to understand. And it's
Mm.
going to be a lifelong journey, you know. I think truly understanding yourself is a lifelong journey because you're constantly changing and you're constantly evolving. So showing yourself a lot of like self-compassion is actually really important for that. And then in terms of putting that then online, you just have to radically accept that sometimes you are going to get rejected, and it's not going to be the end of the world. It's going to hurt. It is, but you're braver than that hurt. And actually, if you sit with that hurt, you can then unpick the parts of you where that hurt kind of stems from.
Mm.
And I think it's in that, it's like in that shadow work, like it's in a lot of the work that you don't see behind the scenes of a lot of these people who are like camera facing people. Behind a lot of these people is so much inner healing work that's actually gone on before they've got to this point. Um, but even in saying that, I think do the thing scared anyway. You know, there's so many things that I'm, you know, like I'm doing and I'm like, I'm terrified to do this, but I'm going to do it anyway. Because if I don't do it, I'll just never do anything, you know? So yeah, I think it's a process, but I think in this whole process, like you just have to show yourself a lot of self-love, a lot of self-compassion, and just a reminder like if people do reject you, it's not a rejection, it's a redirection, because the more authentic you are, the more authentic connections, opportunities, people, situations you're going to be in because you're being true to yourself. And I always like to think that the universe rewards you for that.
Wow. That was wonderful. Hope all of them got the answer.
Yes.
So, nice.